You ever just open an app, click a link, and everything just works, like instantly? Well, behind that one simple click, there's this incredible, super high-speed conversation happening all across the globe. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and see how the web really works.
Seriously, think about it for a second. You tap your weather app, and boom, in a fraction of a second, you know the exact temperature, the wind speed, everything. It feels like total magic, right? But here's the thing. It's not magic at all. It's a lightning-fast journey. And we're going to follow that journey from the very beginning to the very end. So here's our game plan for the trip. First, we're going to meet the two main players in this story, the client and the server. Then we'll figure out how they even find each other in the first place, learn the language they speak, and even check out the special menu they use to order information. All right, let's dive in.
Okay, first things first. Every single thing you do online, whether it's loading a website or posting a photo, it all boils down to the same fundamental pattern. It's basically just a conversation between two key players. So let me introduce you to the client and the server. The client is the one doing the asking. That's your web browser, your weather app, your Netflix app. Its entire job in life is to ask for stuff. And on the other side, you've got the server. Think of it as a huge digital warehouse, a powerful computer just sitting out there, listening, waiting for a client to ask for something so it can serve up an answer. It's that simple, really, an asker and an answerer. Okay, that makes sense. But if the client needs to ask a question, how in the world does it find the right server? I mean, we're talking about billions of devices connected to the internet. How does your phone find that one specific needle in a global haystack? Well, every single device online has its own unique address. It's called an IP address. It's literally like a street address for a house, a very specific location. But let's be real, who's going to remember a string of numbers like 172.217.2.238? Nobody, that's who. It's just not practical. And that's exactly why we have this amazing thing called DNS, which stands for Domain Name System. And this quote here nails it. The absolute best way to think about DNS is as a massive public phone book for the entire internet. So here's how that lookup works, step by step. You type in something easy and memorable, like google.com. In the background, your browser immediately asks the DNS phone book, hey, what's the number for google.com? DNS looks it up, finds that matching IP address, and hands it right back to your browser. And boom, with that address, your browser now knows exactly which server to connect to. Okay, so our client found the server, they're connected. Now what? Well, they actually need to talk to each other. And to do that, they have to speak the same language. On the web, that native language is called HTTP. HTTP is basically the official rulebook for conversations online. It's the shared grammar that lays out exactly how a client should ask for something and how a server should reply. It's the bedrock protocol that makes the entire web work together. And here's what a super basic chat looks like using HTTP. The client sends a request that says, hey, my method is to get something, and the resource I want is the main page, index.html. The server gets that, finds the page, and shoots back a response. My status is 200 OK, which just means everything's good. And here in the body is the web page code you asked for. See, it's just a simple, elegant little dance of request and reply. Now, that simple back and forth is perfect for grabbing entire web pages. But let's go back to our weather app. It doesn't need a whole website with menus and ads and articles. It just wants one tiny piece of data, the current temperature. For that, we need a much more precise way to ask. And this is where the conversation gets a lot more sophisticated, thanks to something called an API. The best analogy for an API is a restaurant menu. It's a contract that the server offers to the world. It says, look, here's the specific data I have available, and here are the specific things you can ask me to do. So instead of having to order the entire restaurant, you can just order the fries. So, if the API is the menu, how do you make sure that everyone orders in a way that the kitchen can actually understand? Well, you need a standard format, a simple set of rules that everyone agrees on. And for most modern APIs, the most popular set of rules is called REST. The big idea behind REST is wonderfully simple. It says, hey, let's just treat every piece of information as a resource. A user in a database? That's a resource. A product on an e-commerce site? A resource. A movie, a song, tomorrow's weather forecast? They're all just individual resources. And this right here, this is the secret sauce. REST takes those basic HTTP verbs we saw earlier and gives them really specific jobs. Get is always for reading a resource. Post is for creating a new one. Put is for updating one that already exists. And delete, well, that's for getting rid of it. Read, create, update, and destroy. That's pretty much it.
And this is what makes it so powerful. It creates a predictable, universal system that everyone can understand. Any developer on the planet can look at a request like get/movies/3 and know instantly what it's trying to do. This standardization is the real engine behind all the apps on your phone. It's what lets your Wegger app, your food delivery app, and your social media app all talk to thousands of different services without having to learn a brand new language every single time. It's a clean, universal standard for data.
So, there you have it. From a single click, we followed the whole conversation. We met the client and the server, we saw how DNS helps them find each other, we learned their language, HTTP, and we saw how APIs and REST give them a standard way to order specific data. You now get the fundamental language that powers our entire digital world. And these rules aren't just technical. They're what allow new ideas to connect and grow. So the only question left is, now that you know the rules of the conversation, what will you build with them?